Hello friend, welcome back. In this tutorial I will show you how you can automate the shadowdom with the help of latest method of Selenium getShadowRoot. Like earlier we used to automate these with JavaScript executor, so which is not anymore being supported with the like latest version of Chrome as well as Selenium. So this has become like a lot more easier as well to handle shadowdom now. Just in like 2 clicks you will be able to automate. You will not have to waste like hours or half an hour or 1 hour of time to handle any kind of shadow DOM, like single shadow DOM or multiple nested shadow DOM. It will be a lot more easier. First of all, like those who are watching or getting to hear this word shadow root, shadow DOM first time. So what is shadow DOM? How you will identify that in the DOM? So if you inspect any element, like here I have some example with shadow root thing on SelectorSub practice page. So you see that here this element, generally like normally it is looking like a very simple element in the DOM, like this one I have inspected. So you see that this looks like very simple, but whenever you find any element inside this shadow root, that means this particular element is inside shadow root or shadow DOM, you can say. As soon as you see that, you should trigger that to automate this element. You will have to take extra care. They cannot, like shadow root elements cannot be located through xpath, so you will have to use css selector, id, name, etc. You cannot use xpath to locate them. Another thing what comes in mind, why we have this shadow root, why developer added this here in the DOM. So there could be a lot of regions depending on different requirement, which is not major concern for us at the moment, because we need to automate this. So for that reason we need to focus on the how to automate this. Otherwise, like in simple words, if I say a few regions, like one major region is security. Many people used to introduce this in DOM for security reason. Another region could be like to the code reusability of the code, like they need not to write the similar code again and again, the same file they can call. So there are multiple regions. Here let's focus how we can automate this and how you can locate this. So like let's say you have inspected this element, and generally like when you open DOM, sometimes it open like this and shadow root used to be hidden somewhere. So many times we miss this, and somebody, those who are new, fresher, they might even not get to know that like when they are inspecting, they might not get to know that okay, this is something special, this is inside shadow root, so we will have to handle this element something especially. So for that reason, you just open SelectorSub. SelectorSub is a free XPath browser selectors plugin. You just add it in your browser and then you will find it here. For that, like how you can add and install everything, please follow other tutorial which are available on our channel. Here I will show you how you can automate this shadow DOM using SelectorSub. So you see that as soon as you inspect element here and open SelectorSub, it will immediately show you that this is in shadow DOM, and this is particular like message, this element is inside shadow DOM, which can't be accessed through xpath. You use css selector for it, so it shows you everything. And now here if you see that, here it also shows you the script. Okay, so this basically gives you the complete script as well to automate this particular element. And how you can use this script? Simply you have to copy paste. I'm showing you guys in Java Selenium. You can use it in like you can also do the same thing in Java Selenium with Python, Ruby, or Cypress or Playwright. The concept is going to be same, just that you have to handle this way. So copy this particular script, go to your code. Here I have written a very simple script to open this website and something I'm doing on that page. And then after that, suppose I want to enter some value on this particular field, enter name field. I will paste this, and here you see that only 2 lines of code is here, which is basically handling the shadow DOM. This is just very simple. This is a variable I'm storing here, the host value, host selector, and then this is just a wait, and here is the element which we are accessing. So 2 lines of code basically. What this code is doing, let me explain you. So here you see that this element is inside this shadow root, and shadow root, there to host shadow root, there will be a host in the DOM, which is that particular element inside which this shadow root exists. So this shadow root is inside this particular div, so this div become the host. Now to access this shadow root, to get the permission, to get the access of this particular element, first we need to ask this host that please give us the access of this shadow DOM, and then only we will be able to access this particular element. So first we need to locate this element, and then we will be able to get the access of this shadow root, and then we will be able to perform the action. It is very much similar like iframe. If you have ever handled iframe, like to perform the action inside iframe element, you have to first switch inside iframe and then you perform the action. So similarly here, to access this particular element, to perform action on this element, we have to first switch, first we have to get the access of this shadow host, and then we get the shadow root access, and then we perform the action on this. So that's only the same thing we are doing it here. Like in this line, you see that driver.find element by.css selector, this line, in this line we are getting the locating this particular host, and then this getShadowRoot is in this getShadowRoot method. What we are doing, basically we are requesting this host for the permission of this shadow root. So basically we are, by this method we will get this complete shadow root, whatever is inside this, we will get the access of that. And the return type of this particular command will be search context. Okay, so now let us go here. So you see that this line is returning this particular complete shadow DOM. The return type of that we call it as search context, and then this shadow DOM, inside this shadow DOM we have that particular element inside which we have to enter the value we want to perform the action. And you can see that then we are using find element method and simple by.css selector, and here is the css selector for that particular element. And suppose here you want to enter some value in that box, then you can just add the command. If you want to click, right click, double click, anything you want to do, that you can do here. And let me just enter the value. Suppose we want to enter Sanjay in this particular field, so you see that host, and then this is the element. Let us run the command. What we did, we copy the code and just added this action, whatever we want to perform, and that element. Now let's see if we execute this element, if we execute this script, it will enter the value or not. And I will also, like, if this gets successfully executed, I will also show you guys what all kinds of exception and error you will get while handling the shadow DOM, because with this script also you might face some or other issues. So first we were entering the value, and you can see that here it has entered the value username, and then before that we were entering the value here user email. Okay, so this is how very simple you will be able to execute, you will be able to perform the action on shadow DOM element. It's simple. Okay, it has executed just in one go, but it might not happen as simple in your case. Let me show you what all kinds of exception, what kind of errors you might get. One reason could be, like, let's say you are executing your script. Okay, so let me just for a second end this script. Now there might be a page, like we have this page. Okay, and now this page is taking some time to load, and here shadow DOM might take some time to load. Let me just open this here, driver.get, and paste this. Okay, I will comment this line. Let me comment this complete piece of code, or just delete this basically. Okay, so we are opening this page. Okay, and now here on this page as well, okay, this is in this page also we have this enter name field. Let me just open. You can also open SelectorSub just by clicking on the logo here. This makes even a lot more easier. Also, if you inspect the element, just even by hovering the cursor on the element, you will get to know that this is inside shadow DOM. Okay, so let us inspect this, and here you have the same script. Copy this and come back here, paste it here. Okay, we pasted this. By default you see that we are adding 1 second of wait time. Why we are adding? Because when the page is loaded, when you are opening the website, it takes some time to load the page here. Like sometimes page might get loaded very fast, but this particular shadow DOM part might take some time to load. In that case your script might fail. So for that reason we recommend that you add more wait time, but by default we have added 1 second because we are considering that there will be high speed internet, there will be like web application will be fast. So considering that we are adding this. Now let us add this send keys method here and execute this. So basically I want to show you that what could be the failure and the script is absolutely correct. Do not worry that SelectorSub is giving the wrong script and it is not working. So you see that in this case the page got loaded here successfully, but this part, the shadow DOM part, this area took some time to load, right? So in this situation our script got failed here. You see that, and it is saying no such shadow root exception. So no such shadow root, there is no such shadow root, because in that time, that particular time, that area, that shadow DOM was not loaded. So what we will do, we will add some wait time here, more wait time. You can make it 5 seconds, you can try with 10 seconds, 20 seconds. So let's try with 10 seconds here. Okay, and you see that the same script will work. Why it didn't work first time? Because the DOM was not loaded. So you have to make sure that your script executed successfully, and like you will have to manipulate for the time, and you will have to see that in how much time that particular DOM area, shadow DOM area is getting loaded here. Okay, so now we will see that we are waiting for 10 seconds, the shadow DOM got loaded here, and we'll see that. So you see that it has entered the value. So such kind of exception you need to handle. You will have to see that in how much time your shadow DOM, because there could be a situation your shadow DOM might be inside iframe or any other scenario that by clicking on some element or by scrolling the page, that particular shadow DOM is getting loaded. So you will have to figure out manually, you will have to see that okay, in what scenario your shadow DOM will get loaded, because same page when you will open manually, that get loaded very fast, but same page when you will open through automation, it might take some time. So note, you can notice that as well when we are executing this script as well. Okay, so this is one scenario. Now let me just go back to again the same script. Let me just comment this out, comment this. We were doing this first time, right? This page, on this page, if I will again go back here and try to enter the value here in this element, copy this piece of code, and let's say if I paste this, okay, and now here I enter, let's say Sanjay. So this is the same page earlier we were working, right? When I'm pasting this, it should work immediately. Let's see. So you will notice that this will open the page, everything will be loaded, it will look like okay, everything got loaded successfully, but it also got failed. So you see that here it got failed here with the same error. Now because when we scroll the page, that time this, or when we perform the action, that time this shadow DOM is getting loaded here. So that's the like kind of advantage also for some region people used to introduce shadow DOM, because that loaded whenever it is required like that. So you see that it is not loaded when we were when the page was just open and loaded. So for that reason, what we will do, we will perform some action on this page, maybe like we will enter some value here, or we will click somewhere here, or we will scroll down, so that the shadow DOM get loaded and immediately we will be able to perform the action. Now what we will do here, let's say on this page we will enter some value here in this particular field or password field, anything, anywhere we can enter. Okay, so let's say we want to get the code here, we will use this name in place of xpath for an example. So what we will do, we will enter some value here in this particular field, email, send keys. Okay, and now execute this script. Why I'm showing you guys these scenarios, because I wanted to make sure that the successful, if I will show that okay, this works immediately fast and work, then in that case you guys will feel, oh, this is not working, in our case the script is failing, so you might feel bad. So here I'm showing you all the failure scenario as well, that how you can handle this, because SelectorSub gives you the exactly and absolutely correct script, and the host locator as well as the shadow DOM elements locator, that gives the correct value, just that you will have to see that where it is failing and why it is failing. So you should be knowing that what all scenarios could be. So one could be like your shadowdom is not loaded in the not loaded in that time frame when you are looking for the shadow DOM element in through your script, so you might have to wait more, you might have to perform some action, you might have to scroll the page, right? So that you can try, and you can see that now the same script is working. What we did, the same script is working, we just perform some action on some other element so that the page got active and the page was working. So that you may try. Okay, so this is working fine. Now this was the simple shadow DOM, like single shadow DOM. Let's see the multiple shadow DOM, where the element could be inside multiple shadow DOM. So here you see that this pizza field is inside multiple shadow DOM. So you can see that this element is inside two nested shadow DOM. Simply you have to copy this script, nothing you have to do. Copy this, and let me just maybe for a second delete this, paste this script. Okay, and here inside this pizza field, let's say we want to enter some value, send keys, cheese, and let's execute this. It should enter the cheese inside that field, pizza field. So that is multiple shadow DOM. I will explain the script, what kind of script SelectorSub gives. So you see that first we were entering the value support, and here it has entered the cheese in pizza field. So this is how, like, very simple, it immediately works, nothing extra you will have to do. Now notice here this first we are getting the first shadow host, then we are accessing the another shadow host, we are getting the permission of another shadow host, and then we are performing the action on that particular element. So first shadow 0, then shadow 1, then shadow 1. Inside shadow 1 we are having that particular element. Let me show you here. So if you open this, and this is the field, inspect this, now you see that this is the element. Okay, this element is inside this shadow root, and who is the host for this app2. And if you scroll up, you will find this particular host is inside this shadow root. Okay, and who is the host for this shadow root? This one. Okay, so first we need the locate this particular host, then we will get the shadow root of this, then we will get the we will be able to locate this particular element, another host, then we will be able to get the permission of this shadow root, and then we will be able to get this particular element. Same thing SelectorSub is doing. Let's see. So you see that here first it is locating this particular host, this one username. You see that first it is locating this, then we are getting this shadow root, so we got this shadow root. Then come down, and here you see that whatever variable we have taken, this shadow root 0. Okay, so the first one, and then inside this shadow root 0, you see that it has written shadow root 0, then dot find element by dot css selector app2, this one. Okay, and then we are using getShadowRoot method to get this particular shadow DOM, and then inside this shadow root, this one, shadow 1, we have this particular element, this input. So we are using shadow 1 object, and then inside that find element by dot css selector hashtag pizza, this one, and then we are performing whatever action we want to, whether you want to perform click or send keys, anything you want to do, that you can do. It's as simple as it is. Just that make sure that you add a proper wait time if your shadow DOM is not loaded, because you see that same thing when we will refresh the page, it might load very fast manually, but same thing when you will open through your automation script, same page, it might take a lot more time to load everything. So please pay attention that if you have to increase this wait time, then increase that. If it is required to perform some action on some element, then you can add that. You must be thinking why it is adding these two string css selector host 1, why it has giving these two lines. So we are basically also making it more easy for you guys, that what if like you are not using this driver.find element kind of method. So we are giving you the host selector like extra, so that if you are using some other kind of method, then let's say you don't use this kind of method, these you are not usable for you. So you have the selector for that particular element, you have the selector for the host 1, host 2. So in whichever, like you are working with Selenium, with Python, Ruby, or you are working with Playwright, or Cypress, anything you are working with. In that case, you have the selector for the host 1, host 2, and for the element. You just have to use whatever method those particular frameworks are supporting to get the shadow DOM access. So in that case, you can use these selector. You can just comment out these 2 lines. You don't need, you can comment these basically 3 lines, and whatever method they have, that you can use. But these selectors will be required, host selectors will be required in all the frameworks. So basically SelectorSub gives you guys the selectors of all the hosts, so you will not have to go and worry. So that's the use case of this. Otherwise, like if you don't if you are using this kind of thing directly in your framework, you have this kind of setup, in that case you can delete, it is not that required. Okay, I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful, and now you will not face any kind of challenge to handle the shadow DOM or multiple shadow DOM, or if there are more shadow DOM, you will be able to handle all kinds of exception, all kinds of error, as well as you will be able to automate them. If you face any challenge, do let me know. If you have any scenario where it is not working, I will be more than happy to help you guys. You can also connect us on the live chat on SelectorSub website, or else you can let us know in the comment section. And please do share this tutorial with your colleagues and fellow teammates, those who are facing issue while automating the shadow DOM. And you will find more tutorials related to iframe, SVG, shadow DOM inside iframe, or a lot more, which we have already created on SelectorSub YouTube channel. So you can just search iframe shadow DOM, something like that. You will find all kinds of tutorial. And if you have any specific scenario, do let me know in the comment section. I will be more than happy to create tutorial on that as well. With that, thank you so much. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also check out these awesome informative videos, and keep watching more videos on SelectorSub channel. Thank you.